This feels like a weird video to make, I'm gonna be honest, but it feels like a video that I also should make, and I've been thinking about making for a really long time, so here we are just making it. Also, I apologize if you can hear Bear snoring in the background. He's lying on my bed very content and happy, and I'm not gonna be the one to kick him out. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, and today I'm going to be talking about my chronic illness and my struggles with it in relation to writing and creativity, and also my life. But before we start, I just want to give a quick disclaimer or a bit of a preamble to this video. I am in no way trying to make any kind of bold claim on mental illness or chronic illness as a whole. All I'm doing is talking about my own experiences as someone with a chronic illness and has had this chronic illness for over a decade, which I'll talk about briefly in a second. I'm also not trying to come to any grand conclusions or anything like that in this video. I am definitely someone who is not going to give you the whole toxic positivity speech of, it'll get better, or, I got through this, or I'm getting through this, so like you can too. I'm not that kind of person. But just as a disclaimer, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm also not here to give you any actual advice on how to deal with mental illness or chronic illness and how they intertwine, because they're really honestly so intertwined that I couldn't separate them if I tried, and I don't think it's healthy to do so. So that's my preamble. I did not script this video, so if it seems a little rambly, I do apologize. But this is my thoughts currently. I did have a script planned out for this video and then decided that this was a better way to do it because genuinely it just felt a little bit stilted, and with a conversation like this, I feel like it's best to just be completely honest and blunt and kind of try to have a flow to it, because this is a very nuanced topic that, of course, I am one singular person. I'm not the end-all be-all fountain of information when it comes to chronic illnesses. I'm not even the end-all be-all of migraines, which is my personal chronic illness. Segue. I've had migraines since I was 11 or 12 years old. So I'm 22 currently, so I've almost been dealing with them for a decade, which genuinely surprises me because I feel both younger than 22 and older than 22. And I do attribute part of that to the fact that I've been chronically ill for so long, and also a cocktail of my personality and different traumas that have happened throughout my life. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about chronic illnesses. So I have had severe migraines since I was 12 years old. I kind of cleared them up around what time when I was 14 or 15, and then when I was 16 or 17, they came back with a horrible vengeance and decided that they were absolutely going to cripple my entire life, which was, a time. And then they kind of got better from there until I was about like 20-ish. Essentially, I'm giving you a very brief history of my migraines. You don't need to know all of it. It's really not relevant, it's probably boring, honestly, because migraines have really been the source of a lot of my discontentment with the world. Is that the world? I was very angry at the world for a really long time because I have been consumed by my migraines so many times in my life that it really wasn't fair. I've lost out on a lot of things, a lot of opportunities. I have had to make choices for myself that were healthy for me, even though they weren't necessarily what I wanted to do. I had to go to college much closer to home because if I had a horrible migraine and my parents had to come pick me up, I couldn't bear the thought of being like 3 hours away and not able to get home and being in exorbitant amounts of pain, especially as an 18-year-old, because as an 18-year-old, you're much less equipped to deal with that kind of thing, even if you have been going through migraines for 6 or 7 years. My chronic pain has definitely changed how I view the world, and it's also changed how I view creativity. So for the last couple of years, I've actually had a pretty good run of not having terrible migraines. I did have a terrible migraine flare-up a couple of weeks ago, which was really difficult for me. And this is why migraines are so difficult for me, because as someone who had suffered from them a lot growing up, I turned to the one thing that I've always loved since I was a child, and that is writing and creating stories. And I have terrible handwriting. If you've seen any of my bullet journal videos, you will know this is a fact. So obviously I had to write my stories on a computer. I'm very into my laptop. I love my laptop with every inch of my being. My Surface is literally my baby. But if you have ever experienced a really bad headache, you will know that blue light is not very good for your eyes because it literally feels like there's someone trying to claw your eyes out from the back of your head. And let me tell you, it's not pleasant to look at a screen while that's happening. I pray you never have to experience that. And the reason I'm making this video now is because from that flare-up, I kind of had an epiphany about my migraines because I kind of just had been ignoring them for a while, because that's what you do when you're on medication and you're kind of going, well, you know what your triggers are, you know what causes your migraines, and you kind of figure out what you can do to avoid that. So one of my triggers is Chinese food because of the MSG. I just don't eat Chinese food like ever anymore. I eat it like once a year. I take my medication every single night because that is what I have to do. I have essential oils that really work and really soothe my migraines, and when I feel one coming on, I'll take it. I have preventative pain medication that I can take that will hopefully stop the migraine in its tracks. If I need to, I will drink an excessive amount of caffeine because that often helps me get rid of my migraine. I have a shit ton of ways to get rid of migraines and to feel better about my migraine. Generally not have them because I've had 10 years of experience. But what I realized the other day is that I was not very equipped for the fact that when I have another flare-up and it kind of tears me down for a couple of days, that I can't handle that. And that goes into my workaholic problems because I turn to work and to writing as a way to keep me out of this old noggin up here. And that's why that one felt particularly devastating, because I had been working so hard, so much, and like really pushing myself to grow creatively and grow as a creator and a writer, that slowly, brick by fucking brick, it all came tumbling down. I had gained momentum from August until December, and I was working so hard to try to make my dreams a reality, because this fucking industry works so slowly that it takes forever for anything to happen. It takes forever to write a book. It takes forever to rewrite a book. It takes forever to revise a book. It takes forever for you to get feedback on that fucking book. So I feel like I just have to keep moving forward, keep doing this momentum, keep going onward on this journey so that I can eventually reach my dreams and conquer what I want to do and be a fucking traditionally published author. Like, that is what I want more than anything else in the world at this moment. And I was afraid that if I didn't keep pushing towards this future, it would just get out of my grasp. I would never reach it, and it would just wither away and die, which is such a dramatic way of looking at it. Welcome to me. I'm an Enneagram 4. What can I say? That is what's so devastating for me about my chronic illness, is that it takes away the one thing that really, really helps me from tipping over the edge. There is absolutely an intersectionality between anxiety, depression, and my chronic illness. I think most people who have chronic illnesses can probably also agree with this, that is something that it just kind of comes with the territory. In my experience with other people who I know who have chronic illnesses, they kind of all wrap together into one really shitty donut. Donuts? That's a weird metaphor to use, but we'll go with it. So writing is my lifeline. It's my thing that I cling on to desperately in the throes of everything going to shit, in the middle of pain and a pandemic and all of the things that are going wrong in life and in the world. It is the thing that I turn to most. And what I really do find is my thing. It's what I do best, really. I am so lucky that the thing I love also coincides with my talents, because I do think I'm a talented writer. You know, she's humble too. Just kidding. But I've also struggled. That's like an entirely different video of writing insecurities, which I might make in the future. Who knows? So writing really keeps me sane. It keeps me feeling good. It keeps me feeling healthy. It keeps me feeling normal. Which normal I think is a dumb word, but you know, it works for our purposes right now. And it had been so long without one of my flare-ups, without a migraine, that I genuinely forgot how to cope with it. Like, how does that happen? Like, I know I'm really lucky that I didn't have a migraine for months upon months. The last really bad flare-up that I had that was like really, really crippling was in the summer of 2019 when I was in Spain. That completely derailed a lot of shit. That was like one of the worst I've had. I was also in a foreign country, I didn't speak the language, so that was a fun time. That whole trip was a time. I could go onto that for literally ages. I have just been trying so damn hard not to feel like a fraud and a failure when it comes to this dream of mine. It's hard for me to believe that I am capable of doing things because of my chronic pain, and then my chronic pain takes things away that I am capable of doing. So it's just, you know, this vicious cycle. You understand what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I hope so. I hope that makes sense. I was working so hard for this dream that I kind of denied the fact that I was still ill, that my body is still not working with me, and that it still isn't fully healthy. I'm not cured of my migraines. Just because I tend to try to ignore the fact that I have migraines does not mean the migraines don't exist. It doesn't mean that there's not something wrong, something broken up here that makes my you know, blood vessels go crazy, you know, and my eyes feel like they're gonna fall out of my fucking head. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I kind of remembered again a lot of the shit that happened to me in the past when I first found out I had migraines, when I first was suffering with migraines. And while this flare-up was bad, it wasn't the worst I've had. I've had so many worse ones than that. And genuinely the worst for me is not knowing. Not knowing what's wrong with you, not knowing if the pain pills are going to work, not knowing if the doctors will believe you, if they'll just say, oh, you need to lose weight, and that's what, and then your migraines will miraculously go away. Well, newsflash, buddy, it doesn't work like that. Maybe for some people, but not for me. Tried that one, didn't work. I am very lucky that I have an incredible neurologist who has helped me throughout the years. I am incredibly lucky that I have coping mechanisms. I have things that I can do that I can fall back on that will help me, and I can physically recover. I'm not completely hopeless when it comes to my migraines. I can return from the dark abyss that is them, but I think what's really difficult for me is that migraines and pain in general brings out the worst parts of myself. It really brings out these pieces of myself that are excruciating. It warps your mind. Pain warps your mind. It makes all of the noise silent, makes all the voices of reason silent. It tries to convince you and trick you that it won't end this time. But the fact is that it did. It did end. The pain did end. I'm done. I don't have a migraine right now. I don't have a migraine. You know, I had one the other day. I was fine. I just had to take the coping mechanisms that I've learned and employ them into my life again. And that's hard because coping mechanisms keep me separated from writing and keep me separated from doing what I love and keep me from doing the things that I want to do, which is the hardest part because getting better from the migraine means that I have to give up things that I love doing and give up things that help me stay sane and healthy in the mind to physically recover. And it's such a fucking double-edged sword, and it makes me so angry to think about those things. And that's something that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. My creative process and my creative output could be hindered by pain, and that just sucks. Maybe that's the moral of the story. It sucks, but it's manageable. So yeah, if you are suffering with chronic pain or chronic illness, I extend you all of my deepest sympathies. I do truly feel for you. Let me know how you feel about this. I know this was kind of a rambly video, but this is vedif, so I feel like I can kind of throw my thoughts at a wall and see what sticks. I would love to hear your opinions, your thoughts, and things that you have learned along the way, if you feel comfortable sharing. If not, totally fine, totally cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video in some capacity, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this video. I don't know how to feel about asking you guys to like it or something. I don't know. This was just me rambling about my own experiences and my own pain, my own thoughts that are rattling around up in this old noggin of mine. So that's all I have for you today. And I will see you tomorrow. Happy vedif!